Welcome to Padres Talking Padres. We're on a different channel today because, as you can see, Jay is not here and he forgot to set it up. He's got doing something else, and I literally just asked him, "Hey, can you make sure you do it?" But you know, kids today. Anyway, how's it
Uh,
going, Jerry?
those kids that are Padres now. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I
And
know how it goes. I know how it goes.
I had to do a thumbnail and everything in like three. So the thumbnail is not that great. I apologize. I just did a shield with going "Boo, don't boo my boys"
Yeah.
because he was a little
Yeah.
upset that the Padres faithful booed him, and I'm normally I'm not, hey, don't boo the home team. I'm a
Yeah.
homer, but you can't when you're paying. I mean, it's not cheap to go to a baseball game,
Yeah. Yeah.
and when you go to a game and you don't see a lot of heart from the team, and I'm sorry, that's what I didn't watch. I saw 2 innings of yesterday's game. I
Yeah.
was driving back from somewhere, and it was 5-0 before I even got home.
Yeah. It's been pretty bad. I mean, I know you're not in San Diego, of course, and I am, and so I get to hear a lot of radio buzz about what's going on and everything. And there's been some pretty good takes. I got to say, I got my own. But I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. People are just not really happy with the perceived attitude. And again, we're not in the clubhouse, but they just seem lethargic, don't they? I
Yeah,
mean, it just doesn't seem like it bothers them. And yeah, there's a little dust up with Schilt saying basically, hey, settle down because you're going to go through highs and lows, and this is a one game at a time kind of thing. But then you hear the ball players saying, "Yeah, we stink."
yeah.
I don't blame anybody for booing. Uh,
King
and I
said
and
it.
I think more than anything, people are really resonating with what happened last year. It, this is, I mean, again, we're a long ways from it. We got a lot of year left, all that kind of thing. But we've heard this before. And the fact of the matter is, the biggest point I want to make is what I heard on the radio and was put out there in that in the last 291 games, the Padres are 145 and 146.
Which pretty much
So
sums up the way they play.
well, and it also sums up a little bit more of the hype that's around this team at the beginning of each year, and is it justified? Because there's the old saying, "You are what you are." Your record says that you're a 500 ball club. It's not
One
being sold like that. It's being sold as, well, these are all these superstars. They're going to come around, and well, when? I don't know. I'm starting to change my attitude that maybe this is just a 500 ball club.
well, if you can go a year and what 40 games, so how many games it's been this season, and you're playing the same way you played last season, basically.
Yeah,
I mean, record wise, just hovering around 500, hovering around
yeah,
500. Again, it is what you are, what you are.
yeah,
And again, I look at the team. They added a Reese, what I think is a great move, and they get so pumped up to play the Dodgers, and then you come out and play the Rockies, and you're just like, "Oops."
yeah,
I mean, people were
yeah,
trying to defend, the first game against the Rockies. I mean, 8 walks in the last 3 innings, and nobody scores. That's unheard of. I mean, you have to score.
yeah,
You had Campy with a terrible at bat. I think at one point it was 3-0, right?
yeah,
And he swings at the ball. It was a ball.
yeah,
People are saying, "Oh, he should have taken the one for the team." I go, "Well, it would have hit him in the ribs, probably."
yeah.
I don't blame him for not wanting to get hit in the
Yeah,
ribs.
players can't do that on command anyway.
No,
You see the ball coming at you, you're ducking out of the way.
yeah,
Yeah,
unless you can block it with your armor,
yeah. Well,
that's
if you're
that's
Barry
different,
Bonds or Craig Biggio and you wear armor.
right? But the pitch he swung, I'm like, going, dude, are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's got to be your pitch, right? I mean,
Yeah,
that's the old baseball thing. When the count's in your favor, it's time for you to get picky.
yeah. And then Manny Machado comes up. The pitcher was all over the place, and he swings at the first pitch. And people saying, "Well, if he had got a base hit," I go, "Yeah, but he didn't."
Yeah,
He didn't get a base hit.
Again, I've gotten on you a little bit, good natured ribbon about Bogarts and swing at the first pitch, and it's to me, it's always is it a strike?
Well,
I
no,
don't get
my thing with
I don't get into the whole pitch sequence kind of thing. To me, you got to find a pitch that you can swing out, and if the pitcher throws three awesome pitches that none of them look hittable, well, then you tip your hat to the pitcher and you walk away. But the bottom line is you can't consistently take the first pitch if it's right down the middle, and again, we've illustrated before, you've been on it. If it's right down the middle and you are known to always take the first pitch, well, then shame on you.
That's
If
my
you're the
argument with
opposite and
Bogarts.
if you're the opposite and you're swinging at a pitch that's always a ball the first time, to tease a little bit, well, then they're not going to throw you a ball down the middle the first time.
No,
I think the thing that really gets to me, Jack, is that a couple weeks ago they talked about the Petco way, or the way they spray the ball around and take the walks and advance the runners. And even though it was more closer to 500, it was somewhat working. Why is it that we do that on the road, but then we get home, this homestand? Because I'm telling you, we beat the Dodgers twice, but it wasn't because of the offense.
no,
It was the pitching. Okay. So now you've gone 6 games in a row at home. What happened to that approach? Because all of a sudden it seems like we're not taking the walk, we're not advancing runners, and we're trying to hit a home run every time up. That's the part I don't understand. It's the mental parts that bother me.
And what I'm saying, and like you're saying, Petco is that part. That's how your team.
It's a pitcher's park.
Really, they've never built the team the correct way, in my opinion. Petco is the players have never been. It should be built on speed, and it should be built. They do play great defense. Like Merrill is a perfect Petco park hitter. He sprays the ball around. He doesn't try to I mean, the kid's 21, his first season, and he's far, his baseball IQ is far ahead of most of the players on the team.
I mean, hitting
wise,
yeah,
and defensively he's pretty good, except for that one play where they let it drop. But that could have been, he sees Tatis coming over.
Yeah.
But again, you have to spray the ball around. You can't be going for the fence, especially at Petco in May.
Yeah. Not to beat on a dead point or a point there, but Tony Gwynn Jr. kind of came out and said Merrill's not taking good routes. Now, again, first 40 games in the major leagues, playing a new position. I feel like he's going to get better. He's got the speed to accommodate, some of that. But yeah, when Tony Gwynn Jr. comes out and says, I gotta be perfectly honest, he's not taking good routes, and those missteps have cost him a few times.
Well, I said, the one that dropped in front of him and Tatis, and there was another one where he went back.
Right.
It was I think it was a second.
He's had about a half a dozen of them, honestly, And again, I'm not here to criticize one of the guys who seems to have stepped up and fit into a role better than expected, kind of thing. Part of it also is, center field, shortstop, second base, catcher, you have to rule your roost. You are the field general, So when you're in center field, I think part of it is that maybe he's giving too much respect to the guys on both sides of him, saying, "Hey, they're the veterans." No, you're a center fielder. Yeah. You're a center fielder. Center fielder. I don't care if you've got 20 games of experience versus 20 years. You're still the center fielder. That's up to you to
you have to take charge.
But I noticed in the game after that there was a question, questionable one on who should catch it, and he took charge. And part of that is, we know from our softball experiences, you got to get buy-in from Tatis and Profar to let you do that, because they're not going to let you be field general if you're not going to be field general. That's where it gets a little bit messy. But again, you're right. I don't know if it's the team's built wrong. I just don't know if this team's really much better than a 500 team. And the bottom line is, except for a few runs, 20, 30 games, they haven't proven to really be there. I mean, they had the 15-2 run to end the season last year, when basically they were already out of it.
Right.
They started 2022. I believe they were somewhere around the lines of 28-12 to start the season. Then they went to a pathetic, 6 games under 500 for the rest of the year, and snuck into the playoffs. They have not,
Playoffs.
yeah, they have not done anything in the last 4 years. And again, you can always argue the counterpoint is, well, it's a different team. Yes, it is. Are you going to tell me that we're a better team than when Soto was here and Hader was here?
Lugo, Waka,
Lugo, Waka.
Snell.
You're not going to convince me that this is a better team. I'm not going to be convinced that it's a worse team either. But you can't sit there and say, oh well, this is a different team. Okay, Cease, absolutely. Okay, so was Snell. Okay, Suarez taking over Hader? Yeah, just as good. Okay. But who's taking Soto's place? Not really. You know, the bottom line is I hate to always assign team players on one team as the blame, but man, Machado, Tatis, and Bogarts have got to show up. They're getting paid about $900 million between the three of them. That's where your money went to pay for these guys to produce, and call it fair or unfair. Bottom line is they need to be the guys. They
Well,
they gotta be,
I tweeted the other day. I said the Dodgers have three expensive offensive players.
and
I
they're
mean,
all performing
and they
well.
have it's Mookie Betts, Otani, and Freeman. They're
And
carrying that.
actually, Will Smith even got
Well,
paid. Yeah.
but I'm talking about the big three. When you look
No,
at the big
but
three,
I'm just saying, all four of those guys are producing
yeah,
like
you got what?
like their contracts say.
But they're 1, 2, and 3. They're
Hmm.
carrying because you look at the rest of the lineup. They got some other. Muncie's doing all right. What's it? It's not Pages. What's his Paha? Whatever his name is, the rookie. He's doing
Yeah.
okay. But without those three guys,
No,
they're terrible. The
well,
Padres.
and it also allows them, Jack, because of those three. Muncie fills a role in that he hits big home runs.
Yeah.
The guy can hit 240 and get away with it. We don't have that luxury.
Mm-mm.
Our big three are not performing, so that these guys that are hitting above their average
Because that's what I
are going
was
to be able
saying.
to afford. Yeah,
The difference is our 2-hitter, our 4-hitter, and 5 or 6-hitter, depending on where he is in the lineup, are just not producing.
yeah,
You have guys like Cronenworth or having Profar's having a great year. I mentioned Cronenworth. Merrill is doing well for a rookie.
yeah,
Campusano is doing pretty well. But without those three guys, like you
yeah.
said, the guys that are paid to carry the team, they're just not doing it. I mean, they're just not doing it. And you look at Bogarts. Was Bogarts, he had a decent year last year, but was he built? Is he built more for Fenway or is he built more for Petco?
Yeah.
And maybe that's
Yeah.
part of the problem. And it's just the guy looks lost half the time. I mean, he had back-to-back homers in 2 games. I'm thinking, okay,
Yeah.
maybe he's coming out of it. No,
Yeah.
I mean, he just looks lost. And Machado, again, I know he's not 100%, but Tatis, he's hitting the ball hard, but he doesn't seem to be. I don't know. I'm so confused with this team because again, you sit there and go, okay, I look at the players. You look at the players, and you go, okay, they should be better than what are they? 2 games under 500 now.
Yeah.
I just go, and now Arizona's getting hot.
Yeah.
So I just and the Dodgers are just the Dodgers. They just keep winning and winning and winning, and for the most part, except for this series, our pitching wasn't that good,
Yeah.
obviously, but still, it's the Rockies. You should be able to score. You shouldn't get shut out against the Rockies.
Yeah, I mean, it's I try not to look at the opponent. I know
You
that's
can't help it.
counterintuitive. Well, I know it's counterintuitive to what the way most of us think. We always think of who we're playing and should we win, and all that kind of stuff. And the bottom line is you've been around long enough, you realize, especially with baseball and 162 games on any given day, any team can beat
Oh
any
yeah,
team. It's unlike, to me, football, where it's like, no, if you got a better team, then you're going to win, more times than not. Baseball does not work that way, and part of it is because you've got five individual pitchers that are starting, and so who's in the rotation, who's coming up, who are they facing. There's so many more variables, I think, in baseball. But I think the thing that frustrates most Padre fans is the fact that how can you win 4 series against 4 playoff contending teams and then fall flat like that? I don't know have the answer to that. Just like I don't know, maybe the Padres go to Atlanta and they win 3 out of 4, or they sweep the Braves. Who knows about this game? My bigger point still is over the last 291 games, they're 145 and 146. I'm about ready to call it what it is. I think they're
Yeah,
just a 500 club.
yeah.
And a guy on the radio put it the best way. It's like, yeah, they're a 10-game winning streak away from the playoffs. That's the kind of team they're going to be. They're going to be a 500 club, and if they happen to have one of those streaks like they did at the end of last year, where they win 15 out of 18, then they probably make the playoffs. But having said that, they could just as easily lose 15 out of 18 and look like they are now.
Well, they just
Uh,
lost 3 in a row.
yeah,
So,
and it's a shame because you went 8-4 the games before. Well, what's that now? 8-7.
yeah.
It just seems like sometimes you just get all that work and you're like, oh right, we got where we need to. And how many runs have we made to try to get significantly over 500? I think this is about 6 or 7 now, where we get a couple of games back and we come forward, we get to 500, and then we fall back again,
We were
and then
actually
come
over
forward
5.
and we come back again.
We were a game
We were
over
one game
500.
over. Yeah, well,
Eh,
my point being is we just can't seem
Yeah.
to put any substance of
And that was the same
of
same thing
games in.
same thing that happened last year.
Yeah,
It's just
exactly.
like, it,
And I
again,
don't know, on a larger picture, Jack. I don't know if there's a way to fix it with with the contracts that you have. I don't know if there's a way to fix this. Yeah, I really don't. I mean, you're not going to jettison Machado and Bogarts and Tatis. It's not going to happen.
well, no
You're
one's
not
gonna.
going to.
Well, no one's
You're not.
gonna. You can find someone to take Tatis,
Well,
but
my point being is they have no trade contracts for
yeah, I
a
know,
lot of them.
but
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, and Bogarts, no one's
but you're
gonna
not
touch
going to
Bogarts.
do it. Yeah, you're not going to do it. I mean, the grand scheme of thing of they're not going to do it. This ownership is not going to just after 40 games say, oh well, let's just get rid of all these guys and start over again.
No. Well,
I I think you
I'll be
have to
honest with you.
play it out.
I wouldn't want them to start over again.
Well, I think you have to play it out, but we've talked about before, Jack. It's time for us to just let the farm system grow. We may have to eat a year here or two. You have to find out whether or not you did a good job on the prospects. But look, I'm not necessarily calling for AJ Perler's head, but it's not working. Guy's had 10 years. It,
No, I agree.
he's had 3 or 4 runs at it now, and all we've done is gone to the division championship once and made the playoffs another time. 10 years, that's not a record worth keeping a guy. I mean,
I think this is he has. They don't make the playoffs. He's done. I would think he's got to be done. I mean, you know what I would do? I would take away his GM his and make him in charge of. He does a great job of. They do a great job of drafting players.
yeah, but he ain't going to do that. I mean, I guarantee you.
I get it, but it's just like he just. I mean, you look at. I look at players like Weathers, who had a great game out the other time. It just and he traded him basically for nothing. We got Cooper, but he's played a handful of games. Is no longer on the team. Again, I know that.
But go ahead.
I know that happens, but it just like I don't know.
I think the thing that bothers me or convinces me that this is our 4th manager, and we can argue the merits of the ones before and everything, but out of the 4, somebody's got to make it work. If it was workable, if this was an ideal team, somebody would have found the magic.
Yeah,
and I haven't seen it yet. I see the same identity year after year. 500 club for most of the time. Every once in a while they go on a spurt one way or the other, and then they come back to 500. There's just not enough there. They're missing something. Here every year, I think we're doing the right thing. I'll say this though, Jack, kind of where you're leading a little bit. I think is I wish we'd have signed some of these guys that were successful with us. I know we have money problems, so to speak, because of the luxury tax. But I was begging during the last season, please negotiate with Lugo. Please negotiate with Lugo. The guy is just incredibly talented, and he's kicking butt for
And
the
I'll give
Royals right now.
and I'll give Preller credit for this.
Yeah,
When
he went and
because
found him.
he was with the Mets. He was a relief pitch, a mop-up relief pitcher.
Right.
He wasn't even a setup guy or a closer. And he goes, "We're gonna make him a starter." I go, "Huh?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Oh, yeah, okay, fifth starter, whatever." And he was solid. And now this year, he's amazing.
Yeah.
So Preller has
How would you
he,
like? How would you like to stick Lugo in where Waldron is right now?
that'd be amazing. Because that's
And,
another
and
prop. Another problem with the Padres, like with Alvarez the other day, is the Padres always seem like they're coming from behind,
with
and not
Vasquez, you mean? You mean
Vasquez.
Vasquez? Yeah.
Who do I say?
Alvarez. Yeah.
Alvarez.
Yeah.
Vasquez. Yeah, I. It just seems like they're always from behind, and maybe the hitters change. We've talked about this before. They changed their approach. They can't.
Yeah.
And what happened to stealing bases, and what happened to running? And
Well, that's the Petco way. That's what I'm talking about, Jack. Is we just I watched 2 series in a row where it didn't feel like we did that. And again, the pitching carried us. I mean, the Dodgers series, what an exciting series, by the way. I know we're going on, but what an exciting series. If you're a baseball fan, forget the fact that Padres won 2 out of 3. It could have just easily gone another way, kind of thing. It was just good baseball, good fundamental
well, you had
baseball.
the walk off win on Friday,
Yeah,
which was exciting, and then you had the next day. I know people were bashing Weathers, but I didn't see the balk. It was ticky tack. It's like
yeah,
one of those things. It's like, okay, I'm sure pitchers do that all the time.
yeah,
You pick this moment to call one. So instead of being strike two, it's now 3-1. And the next pitch he throws was a strike, called a ball, and the whole inning changed. And
yeah,
I think he got flustered after that and
yeah,
lost. And then De Los Santos comes in and has the guy 0-2. Instead of throwing another fastball, he throws a slider that hung and just boom, grand
yeah,
slam.
yeah.
So again, Schilt's supposed to be about the little things. They're not doing the little things to win games. They're not.
Well, so let's turn the page on over to Mike Schilt and everything. I was singing his praises early in the year and everything, and I do like a manager that has faith in his
Oh
players.
yeah.
But we're 40 games in, and I don't feel like he's got a real good feel on his pitchers yet, because I am now constantly questioning who he's bringing in. It's not so much that he's bringing somebody in. It's like, huh? You're bringing in him? Or Matsui in a close game? Why are we straying away from something else that might work? I know you got to try these guys, but Jeremiah Estrada has looked really, really good. Give him a chance to bring his level up and everything. When a guy, and this is where Melvin was good, I thought, it is with the pitching staff. He would change their roles according to how they were pitching at that particular time of the year and everything. I feel like Schilt's just out to prove a point, because it's Matsui and Peralta every time, and I just I'm shutting my eyes, going, "Oh my gosh, here we go again." I I can't help but feel like, hey, how about bring him in a low leverage situation and let somebody else try a high leverage situation.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm starting to get a little shaky about him. And yeah, I don't like a manager that just kind of poo poos and said, "Oh well, it's just one of those things we're going through right now." But
Well,
I wouldn't have any other team, and I wouldn't have, I'm right
yeah.
behind these guys. And it's like, no, every once in a while you got to come out and say, "Hey, look, we're not playing well." And I
I don't know
don't
if
think
you
he's saying that.
I don't know if you heard Ron Washington the other day. He got called out for squeeze play, and the batter didn't put the ball in play, so
Yeah,
the runner was out, and they lost by 1 run. He goes, "Look," he goes, "he didn't do his job."
yep,
I mean, I'm like going, "Whoa!" He didn't do his
yeah,
job. I'll do that play again, but the batter has to put the bat on the ball.
yeah. It's
That's all it is to
accountability,
it. He goes, "What do you want me to do?"
Look, to
I
me,
mean,
there's a difference between like what he did, and I'm not sure if that doesn't go a little far, but
yeah, I
there's a
wouldn't have
difference
done it.
between difference of doing that and going overboard and calling somebody out because they're in an 0 for 21 slump, and calling them out by name. It's like, oh, our Machado recent, like, yeah, those two double plays just killed us. I don't know what he's thinking, things like that. But at the same time, I think you got to come forward and just say, look, our big guys got to get going. It is what it is, you know. Uh, isn't it a shame? Again, I've covered this before. Ariel's hitting 300. Merrill's hitting about 280. Profar and Cronenworth are hitting home runs and driving in runs. Again, if you would have said those four guys were on the team A and B doing what they're doing at the beginning of the year, I would have told you, man, after 45 games, holy crap, we're probably 30 and 15.
Yeah,
You
we're
know,
ahead of the Dodgers.
yeah, I'm serious. It's like these are the guys that are carrying the team, and when you get to the 2, 4, and 5 hole, is when you're dragging down. It's the direct opposite of what we were complaining about last year when you got to 6, 7, 8, 9 and go, boy, I hope they make it another inning so they can get to the
Yeah,
front of the lineup again.
and
Uh, You know,
you look at guys like Tatis and Machado, and you go, okay, they've done it in the past here at
yeah,
Petco,
yeah.
but Bogarts again, the beginning of last year and the end of last year, he was money, but it just again they're going to slump, but they can't be slumping at the same time.
Yeah.
They have, and I said on Twitter, people said, no. I said I would have Reese as number, obviously leading off. I would put Cronenworth at set when there's a right-handed pitcher. I'd put Cronenworth batting second. I'd put Tatis third. It would give him more opportunities to for RBIs, and also Reese and Cronenworth work the count better. So
Well,
they get.
the problem with that is then you start stacking up a lineup and you got
I
lefty
get
lefty.
I
I
get
know,
that, but that's not
but
what they're doing now. Is not working.
well, it is for Cronenworth because Cronenworth obviously has some opportunities to drive in some runs. So, uh,
But
look,
as a
at
team,
a
it's
certain
not
point,
working.
you got to look at it this way, at least the way I look at it, Jack. You can't stack everybody that's doing well up into the front of the lineup because now you're running into the same problem
Well,
as
no,
you did last year.
but I think it would help Tatis batting third. I think he's a better third hitter than a second hitter.
Yeah.
I
Well, I
just
mean, if you really want to get down to it, then what you do is you take Arias and you lead him off, and you take Profar and hit him second. Now you got two switch hitters sitting up in the front, and now you get Cronenworth left. I mean, they can't stack against that. Let Tatis and Machado hit or clean up in fifth. I mean, again, I guess I've always been this way. If a guy's struggling, just move him down the lineup a little bit. I mean, just tell the guy, hey, until you find your stroke, you'll be right back up there. Yeah, I know you get to the veterans, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm being moved down to the seventh hole and everything. Well, you're not hitting right now, you know. So when you get back hitting, you'll move right back up the lineup and everything. I think the Tatis thing is, he's still young. I think he just sometimes tries to bear the weight on his shoulders too much. And I think he's pressing a little bit because Machado
well,
and Bogarts are struggling, and
I
he
think
just feels
so.
like he needs to do something.
But people forget he had the similar surgery that Bellinger had,
Yeah.
and it took Bellinger a couple years to come back from it. I think people forget that sometimes you have surgery. It takes a while to. I mean, obviously defensively, his legs are fine, his throwing arm is fine, but there
Yeah.
could be something in the swing that. I mean, but he's hitting the ball hard. I mean,
I think his choice of strike zone has always been a little suspect, and
yeah,
I think this year it's gone downhill a little bit more. Again, that's just one guy's
yeah.
opinion.
I agree.
I
I agree with
I
that
just
because
think,
he
yeah,
swings at pitches in low and outside, and Machado has the same thing. It's like
yeah.
when I know when Machado has two strikes on him, I go, oh, they're just going to throw the ball in the dirt, and he's going to swing
Yeah,
at
it's the
it, and
Steve,
he's
the Steve Garvey syndrome, right?
right.
Curveball outside that never was a strike.
Yeah, and he's going
No,
to swing at it.
and look, when you're struggling, I think sometimes you go the reverse of what you should. You should, to me, be looking at a few more pitches. You should be trying to be patient and hope the pitcher makes a mistake. I think hitters, and we're not even talking just about Machado or Tatis or Bogart, they start expanding their zone, and it's the worst thing you can do because they start flailing at whatever they think is available. And look, I'm not going to tell Manny Machado how to hit because he
I am.
bury me. But the bottom line is that we know what Manny can be. We know what Fernando can be. We know Bogarts can be. We know that they're great players. The the shame of it is the same as last year when we had the big four, and we never could seem to have more than one on at a time. It
Right.
just it was ridiculous. And again, you are what you are. This is what the Padres are right now. They're a 500 ball club at best. And you
Well,
got to hope that maybe somewhere down the line, when they get a little weaker schedule, they'll take advantage of it. They'll still keep banging against the big boys and find a way to go 500. But
they'll be
you got
500.
to,
They'll be a 500 team as long as the big three are not producing consistently.
I don't know. I don't know if even that's going to make a difference, because you know what, Jack, we sit here and talk about those three a lot, and rightfully so. But how long can Cronenworth and Profar keep it up? They're both well above their major league averages right now.
I will say this with Cronenworth, he's changed his approach.
He could be a more consistent player going on. I will agree with that. But Profar, 10-year guy, you know.
Yeah, Cronenworth is using the whole field, pretty much. I mean, he's spraying the ball around, whereas last year he was Deadpool.
Yeah,
and it didn't do it. He was popping up. He was he's striking out a lot. Profar, yeah, I keep waiting for the shoe to drop, but he's always been good at working the count. That's what I give him. So he maybe he's finally figured it out. He was the number one. He was the number one overall pick, right, back in the day.
Well,
and I get it. 10 years, you're like going, okay, you don't suddenly become an all-star 10 years into your career.
Not very often, yeah.
But he doesn't have to be.
No, and so let's go back to the lineup. I mean, wait a minute. When we were going well, Profar was leading off.
Yeah.
We got Arias, and all of a sudden it's like, well, Arias is a leadoff guy. Well, okay, they're both leadoff type guys, but why not let Arias hit further down the lineup? Let him hit second. Let him hit fifth. We have this tendency, or baseball.
It's not like Arias has any speed, so he's not a speed guy.
And not only that, he doesn't have a whole lot of power. But sometimes we get in our head that guys 4, 5, and 6 have got to be power laden. They got to be able to clean the bases. No, you don't.
Well, they got to be able to hit.
Well, that's just it. But I mean, so few times, and I'm talking like 8th, 9th inning. Do I sit there and say, okay, we got to have a home run now? We oh good, we got Manny up, or oh good, we got Tatis up there because we need a home run. More times than not, man, when you're in the middle of the game, you're like, hey, give me a single and just keep the track going here. I've always been a big believer of this. Much I love power in baseball, sometimes it's a rally killer.
Oh, it is.
When the Padres had that 6-run inning against the Cubs, it was a thing of beauty, man. Because you know what? You never emptied the bases. It was always somebody on. Some pitchers kind of get a sense of finality when a guy hits a home run. It's like, okay, well, clean start. Here we go. Let me
also,
start.
as a team, you're so jacked up over the 3-run homer.
Yeah, it's like
that you kind of.
Oh, we got to start a whole nother inning. I don't know if we can do that or not.
Yeah, so. I agree. I mean, not that I would turn away home runs.
No, but
there's a lot of times I'm sitting there watching the game. I go, all right, we're down by 3 runs. There's 2 guys on. Get a base hit on this guy. Then the next guy, to keep let the next guy hit the home run.
Are you ever going to be disappointed if a guy gets a hit? Period.
No.
So
I did want to talk about one thing though. Is sometimes the baseball IQ of the Padres I question too. Now Profar has had a great season. I mean, but the play he made the other day where Manny got hit, then he hits it to right.
It's terrible.
And I go
terrible.
And I like Mutt. Mutt is becoming almost like Dave Campbell to me. And for Padre fans don't remember Dave Campbell when he did the games, you literally learned something by listening to him describe the game because he was so knowledgeable about the game. I would literally go, I never thought about that.
He's realistic.
Yeah, but he also
he's a homer, but he's realistic about what the outcome.
Yeah, but he'd also he explain things that this is what you should be doing. This is what this is how it should be done. And the Padres were terrible back then, But Mudd is the same way, and he goes. He always likes to say, "Hey, let's make a scouting note on that. That this guy could do this guy could do this." Now, Profar, the 2 innings before, was going from first to third and almost got gunned down by that same right fielder.
Yeah.
I mean, it was close. I mean, it was close at third base, closer than it should have been. The guy has a cannon. So, how did Profar not know? I can't run on this guy if I'm going from first. He was out by 10 feet.
Well,
I go,
the way
come
that Grant,
on.
the way that Grant called it, or
No, I'm not talking about how great. I'm saying when I'm talking
no,
about
not Grant. I'm sorry. I was listening to a radio show, and it was pretty simple. Tony Gwynn Jr., I believe it was. I think I'm accrediting the right person. He was saying, if Purdy much ball 101, if the throw goes to third, you try second base. If the throw doesn't go to third, you stay at first base.
yeah,
The throw, he had the ball in his
yeah.
hand, and Profar went without even seeing a throw. That's the problem. The problem is you can't make that decision while the guy's got the ball. There was no bobble. There was no, maybe or undecisiveness or he missed the cut. No, he went, and the guy said, "Oh, you're going to second? Well, let me throw you out by 10 feet then."
Well, it's funny because I'm watching the game. I go, all right, good. We got runners at first and third, and I kind of took my eye off the thing, and then I hear this. Oh, Profar's out at second. I go, what?
Yeah.
Why the hell was he going to second base?
Yeah.
Because you could tell he had the ball. I mean, I'm all for aggressive play, but I'm not for stupid play.
Yeah.
And again, Profar, Profar's not the reason we're having the problems we're having. He's having a great year, but that was a play that killed the inning. And then we had Manny at third with one out, and then Bogarts takes the first pitch and grounds it. When I'm talking about swing at the first pitch, I'm talking about the pitch that's down the middle of the plate that he's letting go. The pitch he swung at, I'm like going, the hell? And then I think Merrill struck out. So we didn't even get a run. First and third, and it's like, come on. And there was another game where we had a runner at second, nobody out. He was still standing at second base after the next three batters.
And again, I think a lot of it comes down to the mental aspect of baseball.
Yeah.
There's the physical side and the things that you can do while you're doing well. I think our viewers know that, I'm a golfer. I love to golf, and I love the strategy of golf. And me and my buddy, we'll drive up to a golf course every once in a while, and on the way back, we'll be talking about it and everything. And there's always this kind of analogy that I use for baseball. When I'm truly on with my golf game, I'm aiming at the flag. I'm going after the tough flags. I'm going after the ones that are over in a corner behind the sand trap and everything. But when I know I'm not playing at my best, I'm trying for the middle of the green. Like just hit the green somewhere, right? Same thing with baseball. When you're on. When you're seeing the ball. Well, it looks like
it looks like a beach ball.
Big old beach ball coming up there, and you feel like you can hit it anywhere, do anything with it that you want to. But you also know when you're just not seeing it well. Again, played softball, which is no comparison to 99 miles an hour. But the bottom line is you still know when you're on, and when you see a certain pitch, you're like, oh, I'm going to hammer that over the left fielder's head, But when you're off and you're pop flying and you're just not quite, well, you know what? I got to hit it up the middle. I got to find some way to just hit a line drive somewhere. Yeah, 5.5 hole, things like that. That's what I've noticed. That's the signs of, to me, the Padres are off. When they stop doing those little things, because they just get into these bad habits, it seems like. And that's the manager. The manager, you need to be involved in that. You need to be talking to these guys and saying, what were you thinking right there? So
yeah. Again, I can't blame Profar, but it just, that to me summed up, like I said, the season and the last couple of years. It's, Soto would do something stupid on the base path, and maybe it's because when I was the one thing I did really well was run bases. I watched baseball all the time. Yeah. My dad taught me a lot about baseball. I knew when to run, when not to run. kind of things, and I didn't do stupid things on the bases.
Yeah.
And so when you see major leaguers do stupid things on the bases, you're like going, oh, seriously, what were you? What was going through your mind? There was no chance. The only chance you had is if you made a bad throw,
You know, we
and you
always
didn't.
know we always know that in baseball, just like in life, there are always, oh, hey, Shin Nanu. Um, you always know that in life there are some people that are just better at their job. You know, sometimes it's, somebody's better at analyst and somebody's a better field worker, electrician, whatever it might be. And it's the same thing with baseball, right? I always like to pretend, at least in my mind, that through the minor leagues, high school, minor leagues, various levels, and they get to the major leagues, their baseball IQ, you would think, would be pretty high. And I'm constantly disappointed that that's not.
No,
I
yeah,
don't get it because I just played softball, Jack. I haven't played baseball since Little League, but I know the kind of the what's going on about when you should run, what you should do, who's the cutoff man, things like that. I sometimes look at this team and think that's probably the bigger problem to me is again the whole mental part of the game. What am I going to do with this? Why am I throwing? Why is it, why is he throwing it home? Why is he not hitting the cutoff? Why are they doing what they're doing and moving runners and not moving runners and taking pitches that you're thinking I knew that was coming. How did you not know that was coming?
yeah.
So
But and you kind of think, well, maybe it's an organization thing that they're not being taught. But you look at Merrill, and sure, might be taking bad routes and stuff like that or bad angles, but he's pretty smart. Like you said, he caught that ball double play. He's got brains. He's got a high baseball IQ.
and I'm not saying all the Padres are that way. I'm just
No,
saying
but I'm saying
is
that
it
it should be, but maybe when you're making a trade for a player or maybe, like I said, I love Arise. I know he's not a good defender, but I can't be mad at someone who gets on base because
yeah.
that's the key to the game. Maybe he should be back, like you said, maybe put him at second and put um, Profar back to leading off because Profar does work the count. He's going to make that pitcher work, and nothing, especially at the start of the game, the pitcher doesn't want to. I mean, you look at Cease the other day.
Yeah.
He didn't have his best stuff. There was a couple of bats where he had like 13 pitches because the guy just kept fouling it off.
Yeah.
And
Which
again,
is tip the cap to the Rocky hitter. It's like,
yeah,
no, you did your job. Yeah.
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 I mean, again, Cease did not have his best stuff, but still, he pitched well enough that he should have won, or could have. It should have been at least
Well,
could have happened. But
the relievers came in and gave up two of his base runners
well, not
and
only that,
so
the
yeah, that's
Padres
yeah.
that was
They
the
didn't
walk.
score anyway. Yeah.
They didn't score anyway. But it's just like I don't know. It's
But
just to me,
it's frustrating. I mean, it
to,
really is. And I guess my biggest thing is that I feel like in some ways, and I don't know how I would expect them to be any different, but I feel like we as fans have been sold a bill of goods. These last 3-4 years, it's always about how great of a team this is going to be, all these superstars and things like that. And again, you go back, the last 4 years, and what do you got to show for it? I mean, you got a shortened season, pandemic season where you made the playoffs, okay, and then you had one good run when you got to the division series, but otherwise, we're just a 500 team. And if you think about those years, we didn't win the division. We came in as a wild card. So what have we really done? I mean, we have a very memorable series against the Mets, against the Dodgers, and
it's
then the Phillies beat us. That's fine, but that's about it. It
it
really
ha-
is.
it hasn't been, like you said, it hasn't been all bad. I mean,
No.
it's better than it was years ago. But I'm past that. You see the farms, like you said, you look at the baseball outs, the players that used to play for the Padres that are now playing for different. And I'm not complaining about the Soto trade, or I mean, the Clevenger trade looks bad, but some other trades that they've
Well,
done.
it didn't at the time.
No, at the time I was for it. I said, okay, you
Oh, I was
get Clevenger.
ecstatic. I'll say it. I was
No,
ecstatic.
I thought it was a good move,
Who
but
knew
it
he was
turned.
going to have arm trouble as soon as he came over?
Yeah, so it is what it is. But and then you had Lament got hurt, too, and this would that be
Yeah.
the same? But I think the Padres, like I said, I think it does come down to Preller. I mean, it's about building a team because people say, "Oh, baseball's not a team sport." It's individual, but it's a team sport. You have to play as a team. You're not going to win. I don't think the Padres do that. I don't think they play as a team. They'll do it for a couple weeks, like we said, and then all of a sudden they get to Petco, and it's like they're swinging for the fence, even though they're not hitting home
Yeah.
runs.
Well, they're not the Phillies. They're not the Braves. They're
No,
not.
they're not.
They're not home run hitting teams. I mean, on a grand scheme, scale and
No,
everything.
they're not a power
And
team.
I think what frustrates here's probably what frustrates more fans than anything is to look in the batting average standings or whatever you want to call it, the team standings and runs scored, and the Padres top 10, still top 10. You look at the pitching, top 10. You know, so why aren't we winning then? And
Because all or nothing.
because baseball is not a game of all or nothing. It really isn't. It's about doing the little things. And quite frankly, this team has a really bad history of not doing the little things.
Yeah,
Because look at last year. What was our record in uh,
one games,
one-run games,
and extra innings.
extra innings? Look at this year. How many games have we lost because we left the bases loaded 3 times in a row? We lost a game late because a reliever came in and gave up the runs. I mean, that's the sign of a good baseball team is finding a way to win each night, finding that way. And it's not always waiting for the big home run. It's doing the little things.
That's
It's not swinging at a pitch that you can't for certain drive to the outfield. Because you know what? That's the other thing. This is what I will hold against Manny in particular. Bases loaded, 1 out. All you got to do is hit a fly ball, and Manny can do that with the best of them.
Yep.
And he swings at the first pitch and hits a little one hopper to the third baseman. You cannot tell me that he couldn't have gotten a better pitch to lift something that he could have driven out there.
Yeah, and he got jammed.
Yeah.
And what did he do the very next day?
Same thing.
It's first inning. I tweeted. I said, "Am I watching the same game?"
Yeah.
I mean, bases weren't loaded, but like I said, I'm thinking, okay, he's at least going to hit a set, anything but a double play.
Yeah, you got to know, you got to lift it right there. You got to tie the game before you can go ahead. You have to do, it's a natural progression. You have to tie the game before you can go ahead.
And this has been a pitcher that has been wild. People like say, "Well, again, like we talked about earlier, what if he got a hit? What if he didn't though?
Yeah,
he didn't." And it's like, and that set the tone for the whole series.
Well, and again, if here's where I will differ from Mike Shield. I think he accuses fans almost of being one gamers and it's every single game and microscope and all that kind of stuff, that general feeling. It's like, no, I'm not basing this on one game. I'm not blaming Manny Machado for everything here. I'm just saying in general this team has not found a way to win consistently.
No,
they are not good at pulling out the close games. Have they had a few? Of course they have, but the majority of the time,
well, they've had more this year than last year.
Every time the Padres get into one of these one-run games going into like the 8th inning, whether we're on the front of it or on back of it, I just don't feel very confident.
Yeah, I think, okay, how are we going to lose this game?
How are we going to do it? And you know what? If I happen to be watching a Dodger game, I can't help it. I sit there and go, how are the Dodgers going to win this game?
Because they're probably going to come back and win the game.
Either they're going to come back or they're going to put some space in between or they're just going to hold it off. That's the mentality that the Padres don't have, because you watch the Braves, you watch the Phillies, the Baltimore Orioles, the teams that are that's what they do.
The Yankees this season.
This season, the Yankees for however long that lasts, but that's what good teams do. They and the other team knows it. And I have this feeling that out in the general public of baseball right now, people look at the Padres and go, "Oh, they'll fold somewhere. Yeah. They'll give us an opportunity." Now they may not come back and beat us. They may not still lose, but they're generally probably sitting on the bench going, "Yeah, but these are the Padres. They'll find a way to lose.
Yeah.
If we put enough pressure on them, they'll find a way.
They're like the Chargers.
Well, somebody said that on the radio show today, and I almost brought it up, but I didn't want to really big sports. But they basically said it's the same line that we got from the Chargers year in, year out when they were in San Diego. Oh, this team's going to be great. Look how they ended last year. Oh, look, we've reeled off 3 wins in a row. We're going to the Super Bowl, And every year, almost without fail, 8-8,
Now
9-7,
you know
7-9, 8-8.
I will say this: the shortened year for baseball, I've always believed. I go, this team can come back and win. There was just a different swagger to that team. I mean, I know it was only 60 games, but they had
Sense of urgency, Jack.
Yeah.
Sense of urgency. This team doesn't have it.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up because I think that's a perfect point. There was only 60 games. We can't wait around. There was a sense of urgency from day one from everybody in baseball.
Myers was hitting. We got great pitching, and
but this team doesn't seem to have that. This feels so much like last year. It hurts. It feels so much like it.
And again, going to the, people always say, "Oh, San Diego only supports a winner." I go, we were third in attendance last season, second in attendance this season, and the team hasn't won crap. So you can't say that. So Schilt needs to know that this team the fans are thirsty for they want the World Series championship, or at least play better baseball. Where like you're saying, I'm the same way. I'm sitting there like going, all right, 7th inning. Okay, can the starter go one more inning? Can the starter, because I don't know who you're going to bring in the reliever. And I look at the relievers, and I thought in the offseason, I got to be honest, I thought Preller, or at least he built a bullpen, a strong bullpen. And it just, the talent's there, but they just haven't, whatever reason, just like everything else, haven't meshed. So I'm like going, I'm like you. I'm like, all right, how are we going to lose? How are we going to, especially against the Dodgers? Because I'm always thinking, okay, the Dodgers always come back and win because they just grind. They're just grinders. They just grind. They get base hits. They steal bases. They'll hit a home. They got guys who can hit home runs. They got pitchers that can come in and pit. Yeah, and I think it's the mentality that even though a lot of their players, the big three are not original, didn't go through their farm system. Many of the players did.
This is a different Dodger organization.
Yeah.
And it's yet to be proven whether or not it works because
but
not to transition to a Dodger show here, but their farm system for years, along with the Cardinals, was one of the best in baseball every year.
But what they did though, they signed Mookie Betts, smart baseball player.
Yeah.
Freddie Freeman, smart baseball player.
Yeah.
Ohtani, terrible with finances, but he's a smart baseball player.
Yeah, he's Ohtani. Yeah,
okay. He's Ohtani. He's a super talented guy. Will Smith. Yeah. He came up through their system, I believe. Smart player, just steady.
We'll see.
Yeah.
He wasn't real smart calling performance irrelevant.
It was dumb.
He'll come down to earth too because I'm not going to bang on Will Smith, but he ain't going to hit. He ain't going to hit 300.
He's already coming down because he's on my fantasy team. I guess I have a couple of Dodgers on my team, but it's just.
How dare you?
I know. I didn't.
In all my years, Jack, I have never had a Dodger on my teams, ever.
I just.
I could have taken Mookie Betts in our draft this year, and I passed on him.
That's crazy because I
don't care.
I love. I wish Mookie would come to the Padres when they're trying to trade.
Don Orsello says he's one of the best human beings you could ever meet.
Yeah, he just seems like such a great guy, and again, he's such a smart.
Well, I love watching because he interacts with a lot of the Padres, and you can tell the Padres all love him too. Yeah. There's guys that can separate competitiveness and wanting to beat you, but I don't need to. That's where I don't. I used to not like the Dodgers even more because they just used to be so in your face and insulting, and guys like Lasorda were just I just couldn't stand him. Go Dodgers! All right, you're banned. Yeah. No, root for who you want to root for, but the bottom line is I'm gonna still root for my Padres. You talked about the attendance though, Jack. That looked like a pretty sparse crowd on Wednesday,
Oh yeah,
and I know it was a day game, but
but
the Padres. This is the second year in a row, I believe, that they've sold out season tickets. So there's no doubt that they're drawing crowds. But I was quite honestly disappointed, as usual, at how many Padre fans are allowing Dodger fans to buy their tickets. Because I got to tell you, that weekend series, it was about 50-50. You looked in the crowd and it was about 50-50. And
it was
you
50-50.
need to, yeah, if
But
you're really a fan, you can't sell your ticket there.
but
You can't.
again, I come down to this, and I get it, and I don't like it, and I wouldn't do it. But why does a fan always have to be loyal, but the owners aren't? How
Oh
many
no,
teams?
it's yeah.
I mean, it's just like, okay, I got to be loyal. It's like it's
Right.
the whole thing with the Chargers moving to LA.
Yeah.
I chose not. I have no problem with people remained a Charger fan, but I said,
Yeah.
screw it. I'm done with him. I didn't like the way he left. I didn't like the little paragraph. We tried. Screw it. We're gonna go fight for LA. That's when I said, screw you. I'm not gonna be you never fought for San Diego. But all these teams, the Raiders move, the Rams move, the Chargers move, the A's are going to move. There's other teams are talking that Tampa Bay might. Well, Tampa Bay that's a bad example because they don't draw well. But there's all these teams that could possibly move to get better deals because the owners want to make more money. Everyone has to be loyal. All the fans have to be loyal, but the players, I can get a better deal. I can go get 15 billion over here, which I have no problem with. Go ahead and do it. Why does the players don't have to be loyal? The owners don't have to be loyal, but the fans, they have to do the right thing. If someone wants to sell their tickets, again, I wouldn't do it, especially to Dodger fans. But like the people were saying, I was reading people were saying, look, it paid for half my season tickets selling 3 games.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like I wouldn't do it, but I get it, and I have no problem with it.
I don't have a problem with it. And you bring up some fantastic points because I've actually felt that way. I can't believe I said what I just did about selling the tickets because I totally agree. My brother is he's not a huge sports fan. So, he likes to watch the golf and he likes to watch the Tour de France, which I don't know where he got that from, but he rides bikes and all that. But his thing is I don't like team sports because of that exact reason you're saying. He says, Jerry, you love your San Diego Padres, and that's good for you and everything. But why do you like them? Because they're not from San Diego. They're from all walks of life. They're guys that are bought to play for a San Diego franchise. So what makes them a San Diego team?
It's the name.
And well,
San Diego.
it's the name. That's
San
just it
Diego.
though. It's your point. Your
Yeah.
point is that these guys are bought to be loyal to play for the San Diego Padres. They're not loyal to the team. The owners are out to make a buck. They're not doing this for the fun. I mean, Peter Seidler is probably one of those rare owners that actually bought the team because he liked A, San Diego, and B, he's a San Diego who wanted San Diego to do well because they are the Padres. He didn't care about the money. That's such a rarity because your example, Kansas City Chiefs, who've won 2 Super Bowls in a row and are wildly supported, didn't get their way, so they're going to cry all the way to Missouri so that they can change their location if they can to find somebody that's willing to spend $1 billion for another stadium that'll make them a huge amount of money. So if you go down that road too much, and I'm trying not to, you won't be a sports fan at all. Because that's where we are today. There's an economics report that came out about 4 years ago that said basically every city that has funded a stadium for owners, whether it's half funded, full funded, partially funded, whatever, has lost money. There's only one that's come close to it, and that's Petco.
Yeah.
To breaking even. That's just to break even. They're not making money to
No.
come breaking even. That's only because of the redevelopment that was put in the package for the Gaslamp Quarter. But cities funding stadiums is a loser. You will not make that money back. I don't care what city you're talking about.
It's politicians that they know it's
It gets them reelected.
gets him reelected because they go, "Hey, I brought you a team."
Yeah.
And it's again, when you look at like Kroenke. Well, at least Kroenke built his own stadium. Now he didn't want the Chargers coming. He was, he was forced upon him to bring the Chargers with him.
Yeah.
But and then of course Dean Spanos undercuts his tickets to try and get. I mean, Dean Spanos does what Dean Spanos does.
Yeah.
He's. But I just again, I selling tickets. I know people don't like it. Again, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Especially for the Dodgers. I mean, if I couldn't make the game, I'd say, okay, I'm gonna sell the tickets.
Yeah.
But again, I'm sick of the fans have to be loyal, and it's only going to get until these cities say enough is enough. We're not building you a new stadium. We're not. Oh, you can have this and this and this and this. It's
I don't think that's going to happen though, Jack. There's still a ton of cities out there that are begging for
Raleigh. Raleigh's
Nashville's looking for one. Raleigh's looking for one.
Yeah.
Sacramento's looking for one. Yeah. So
I mean, I would like to see Raleigh get a baseball team. I mean, just because I could go watch major league games right here. Sure. But it's just like and I'd like to see San Diego get a hockey team and a basketball team, but I'd hate for them to steal one.
Yeah.
Would I root for that team? Yes, but I don't want to, because it hurts. It hurts when you've spent. I look back at how much money I spent on the Chargers during my lifetime, and go, my God, what a waste of money that was, because they just said, "Fuck, screw you, I'm leaving." And it's just, and it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like I know
it's heartbreaking, no doubt about it.
People are saying, "Well, Oakland, they don't show up for the games." I go, "Well, come on."
Yeah.
I mean, and their stadium is a dump. It's a dump, but it's what people always say. If it's such a moneymaker, why don't you build the stadium? Yeah. But the owners go, well, to be competitive, I have it, which cracks me up about the NFL. To be competitive, what do you mean be competitive? You share the revenue.
Yeah.
You share revenue. You're making tons and tons of money.
Yeah, I won't ever go for an owner crying for money.
No.
Hey, so we got a few minutes here. We got to make our picks. So we got 4 in Atlanta and 2 in Cincinnati.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah. Or is it 3 in Cincinnati?
Let me look.
I can't remember if they're playing. I think they are playing next Thursday morning. That's right, they are. Yeah. So it's
7
4 in
games?
Atlanta, 3. Yeah, 7 games.
I would be overjoyed with 4 and 3.
Yeah, I think I again, it's kind of, if we'd have had this show on Monday,
oh my God,
I think we'd be singing a different story and everything.
Yeah.
Look, we play Atlanta pretty well. We have in the past. Again, past doesn't mean anything for what's going forward. Unfortunately, I think Atlanta's starting to find themselves, and they've got a ton of power. If our offense was going well right now, I'd feel like we could compete with them. If we don't have any offense, I don't think we can shut them down. I just don't. We're going to have everybody but King go against them. So, I mean, Cease and Darvish. I always love those two.
Is Musgrove coming back?
I think he's got one more turn before he can come back.
Okay.
So I feel like if we could go 2-2 on that one, I think that's anytime you go on the road, I think that's good. Cincinnati, hey, they're a young club, they're up and down, but I think we can beat them. I'm with you. I think 4-3 is about as good as I can say. Wouldn't be surprised if we went 3-4.
If you look at this Reds
0-7, I don't know.
You look at the Reds offense, they're not nowhere near where they were last season.
Yeah, and the one kid, I do have one of their pitchers on my team, the Lodolo, and he went on the IL, so he won't be going against the Padres because he pitched very well against the Padres the first time we saw him. I think he struck out like 11.
That's right. He was that left-hander, right?
Yeah.
So Lodolo.
Yeah. So, hey, look, keep your chins up, Padre fans. Me and Jack just sitting here, kind of, telling it like we see it. We're not trying to be the downer here, but
sometimes you got to tell the truth.
You got to be realistic. You hear that, Schilt? You got to be realistic every once in a while. Sometimes you got to tell the guys what you feel. So.
Yeah.
All right.
On that note, yeah, I'll still be watching tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you though. I was because I got to get up early, and I'm on the East Coast, and when the was it the second
Yeah.
game. Because I stayed up late. I was like I was so tired that day, and I go, oh, they got the bait. I go, okay. I was going to bed. I go, oh, wait a
Yeah.
minute, they got some runners on. They got some runners on. I go, oh, we're gonna win this game. I got to stay up and watch it. And then when they lost, I couldn't go to sleep. I'm
Yeah.
like, because I'm
No, I
replaying the
feel
game.
for you. I feel for you and Jay being back east and everything because it's a lot easier for me when the game gets done at 9:30 at night, But yeah, when it's 12:30 in the morning. But
And then the next game when they fell behind, I go,
yeah,
the heck with it. I'm going to bed because I was so tired. And then I woke up like an hour later. I go, oh, they lost. Okay.
I know Wednesday afternoon was one of the few games I did not watch very much of. After 2 innings or 3 innings when it was 5-0, I was like, you know what? I told my wife, like, right now I'm just not in the mood to watch it. They're boring. They're being boring. So
yeah, and I said I watched an inning and I said, you know what? I got a lot of stuff to do that I've been putting off. I'm gonna go do it, and I did. I went and did some stuff that I had been putting off, and just said, yeah, sometimes it's got to walk away because I got to be sane too. I got to have my mental health, and it's just watching bad. Again, it's one thing to be bad, but to be boring. And again, if I had gone to the game and paid, it's what, $200 for everything you do, and you don't even score a run.
Yeah, 4 singles. Yeah.
4 singles, and you're like going, okay, why am I paying this money? I'm gonna boo. And I there haven't been many times where I've gone to a game and booed the home team. I have, but it's not been, a lot of time.
Yeah, I'm not, to each their own, but I'm not sure it does anything.
Yeah.
I mean, Bogart's kind of my closing thing is Bogart said, we're playing terrible baseball. You want to stop the booing, play better baseball.
Yeah.
So players know it. Schilt, I think, really does know it, but he just won't say it. So.
No, he's just like.
But until next time, when we go 7-0,
well, wouldn't that be sweet?
Wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
dare to dream. All right, guys, thanks for joining us. And next week, hopefully, we're back on our regularly
scheduled time.
And regular scheduled time and channel.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.